Good evening. Welcome to the February 9th, 2021 meeting of Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh?
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the township clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as legal notice in the Suburban Trends newspaper, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with township policy. Information on remote access was sent via email to the Suburban Trends, Daily Record, and Record newspapers and posted on the bulletin board, front door, and accessible entrance of the municipal building and on the township website.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation.
I pledge
allegiance
Pledge
to
allegiance
the flag
to the flag of the United
United
States
States of America
and to
and
the
to the republic
for
which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice
justice
for
for
all.
all. Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Amen. Clerk will please call the roll.
Try that again. Mrs. Florence Lynch,
Here.
Mr. Hurd,
I am officially here.
Mr. Cole,
Here.
Mr. Phelan,
yep,
Mayor Russell.
Here. For anyone who hasn't participated in one of our remote meetings, I'm going to ask Mr. Brewer to review the format of the meeting. Mr. Brewer?
Thank you, Mayor. As everyone knows, as you've logged in, this meeting is being held virtually via Zoom in light of the pandemic. The meeting procedures follow the normal meeting structure at various points of the agenda, or should the mayor and council desire to open it up for public comment, there are opportunities for the public to participate. We ask you to raise your hand to be recognized, and everybody will be recognized in the order in which they raise their hands. If there are any questions about that process when it gets to public comment, please let us know. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Thank you. There are no presentations scheduled for this evening, so we'll move on to reports from volunteers. At this time, if there are any reports or comments from any of the volunteers serving our community, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized.
There are no hands raised.
Okay, next on our agenda is public comments. This public comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period for public comment is reserved later in the meeting. Individuals are requested to limit their questions and comments to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized and provide your name and address for the record.
Mayor, we do have a hand raised. Mr. Mailer.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you for recognizing me. You can hear me, I assume?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. My name is Paul Mailer, 29 Arundel Road, Pompton Plains. I'm speaking tonight as the president of Propel Pequannock, Pequannock residents of pride, equality, and leadership, advocating for all marginalized people in the community. 2 weeks ago, Propel Pequannock suggested the formation of a Pequannock Township Social Equity Council. To further emphasize its importance, we ask you to consider the following summary of real stories of bias by actual residents of Pequannock Township that occurred right here in Pequannock Township. We share these stories with you not to tarnish the community, but simply to truthfully recognize its imperfections in the hopes of creating a more inclusive environment where everyone can feel welcome. A young gay man writes of being bullied while a student in our high school and of continually being harassed now on a weekly basis long after graduation simply because he is gay. An older white man writes of his Asian-born daughter's experience while protesting for Black Lives Matter in front of the municipal building. A fellow citizen riding bicycles with his 3 children in tow pointed his finger at her face and said, quote, "You don't belong here," end quote. A long-term resident recounts a real estate agent telling her parents that, quote, "maybe they'd be happier looking at homes in Wayne," end quote, as their name sounded a bit too Jewish. A gay man speaks of the, quote, "casual cruelty he experienced throughout his schooling in town and now as a resident homeowner continues to bear. He recalls shouts of, quote, "faggot," end quote, from teenage girls as they drove by him as he was doing yard work. And we all must wonder about the hate they've been taught at home. A young Black woman recalls waiting in line with her biracial child at a front lawn lemonade stand. While waiting, a white man got behind them and asked both she and in turn her 6-year-old child, quote, "Where do you come from?" end quote. He asked in such an aggressive tone that she feared for her and her child's safety and immediately left. These are real experiences by your neighbors and constituents, and they warrant a response from Pequannock Township's leaders. So the question before you tonight is this: what steps do you suggest we can take together to form a Pequannock Township Social Equity Council? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mailer. Establishing a group of people to explore your concerns or any issue is a great idea. We would never stand in the way of that. If there may be a member of religious or secular groups that may be interested in participating, but government committees are advisory on specific government functions or statutory. So they have specific powers, duties, and responsibilities. We would never stand in your way of going ahead and doing a committee that would, especially one that would benefit the community. And we wish you the best of luck.
We have another hand raised, Mayor. Mr. Shamber.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Randy.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Thanks for acknowledging me. I just wanted to follow up Paul's reading of the letter and all of those stories. As I had indicated to you last time we met, you know, I had heard some of these stories and seen some of these stories, and it's eye-opening. And I've learned a lot over the last year, 6 months, with everything that's going on in our country, particularly in these with these types of stories, whether you're talking about LGBTQ+ or Black Lives Matter, or any other kind of discrimination. So it sounds important to me that we address it. And Kyle, I definitely I'm encouraged by your response that some sort of committee can be formed. Can I ask here, what steps are taken? Is there just simply a form to fill out? Do we send an email to Carol asking for it? How do we go about doing that?
Randy, I don't believe the council would get involved. This would be something you would do on your own. Mr. Brewer, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I just, if I understand the mayor's comments, I think the point made was whether an advisory committee or a statutorily called for committee in government, government has specific function. If there's a group that wants to engage on a subject, there are a number of communities and methods to do that. I think, unfortunately, the involvement of municipal government often complicates things with the various requirements that we have to operate on.
Okay, I do, there are committees that you do have where you have an advisory member from the town council involved. And I think that's our goal, is to have something along those lines. So we do have the ability to communicate with our township leaders on these types of issues. So that's what we're looking for, is to be a committee where we would have an advisory member from the town council. How do we go about getting to that level?
I think if there, and Mr. Usteik can jump in, I think if there was an organization that wanted to establish itself and request the presence of a council member, that's something that can be done. I know over the span of years prior to my involvement in things in the Township of Pequannock, if there's been an endeavor and there is a subject that could be assisted with the presence of a council member, whether it's a sports organization, whether it's a not-for-profit, whether it's something that is a potential merger in the benefit of the community, I think they've asked before, and the council can take that under consideration.
Okay, that sounds good. Mr. Oostdijk, do you have something to say about that?
I really have nothing to add. That is how that would work. And the request would come, to the council and they could take it under consideration.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, there are no additional hands raised at this point.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Marsh, have any written comments been submitted?
There are none.
At this time, the next item on our agenda is the manager's report. Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. My written report was submitted in the packet and I believe posted on the website for anyone who wanted to read it. Just to run over some highlights, there was an issue raised at the last meeting. There were questions associated with a bill that pertained to storage fees for a 2014 Tahoe that was involved in a motor vehicle accident. I just want to circle back with a little bit of an explanation there. On September 17th, the vehicle was involved in an accident and ultimately towed to Moffville Collision. There have been times, and more often than not, we keep vehicles on municipal property, but based upon the damage done to the vehicle, the decision was made to have it taken to Moffville Collision. The police department was very interested in having the vehicle repaired. An estimate was provided to have the vehicle repaired, and we were eager to proceed. The Morris County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund, which is the township's insurance provider, then came in and did an appraisal of the vehicle and totaled it. So there was no repair thereafter. So the storage fee really resulted, in essence, from the fact that we never paid to have it fixed, and it sat in the yard for a little while. The total amount for the storage was $1,150. Initially, it was $65 per day, but then that was discounted down to $50 per day. And I do want to note that the township is in receipt of payment in full from that and a reimbursement from the Morris County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund. Next item scheduled this evening for the council's consideration under ordinances for potential introduction. There is an ordinance to establish and preserve a cap bank. As has been discussed in the past, this is an annual action that the council is requested to consider. Essentially, it allows for the increase of the levy cap to be elevated from 2% to 3.5% for the prior and current year, which allows us to bring forward a cap bank. This does not call for additional spending. It is in essence an insurance policy that allows us to, if goodness forbid something presented itself that was enough of an issue, that cap would allow. The council here obviously has a history of minimizing taxes whenever possible and increases, keeping them as small as can be. So again, this doesn't authorize any increased expenditures. It simply is a legislative act to create an insurance policy. There is additionally an ordinance for stormwater management that is scheduled for the council's consideration of introduction. This is an ordinance that is based upon the model that is required by the NJDEP. It's been modified by township staff because we don't have any shore zones. We don't have any urban enterprise zones, so that language has been removed. This would repeal and replace chapters 156 and 157 of the municipal code. We believe, or I suspect, that we have the two chapters that address stormwater management because we probably had a chapter and then a new model came out and we adopted a new model and then we had two. So this will now resolve that issue in repealing those and replacing them with the model ordinance that is required by the Department of Environmental Protection. Next, we have a wildlife feeding ordinance that prohibits the feeding of wildlife in township parks and on township property. Similarly to the stormwater management ordinance, this is a required ordinance by NJDEP. The initial time period for this to be in place goes back to about 2006. We have been providing reports about this ordinance. We searched the files. We believe it may have been done. We're not sure, but we couldn't find evidence of it. So it's being presented to the council for the council's consideration moving forward. Lastly, or second to last rather, Martin Berry House Phase 1 and 2 rehabilitation. There's a resolution scheduled for a change order in the amount of $13,835. There's a significant amount of documentation in the packet for the council and on the website. I just want to make a point that the items that are being recommended for approval are have-to items. For example, when they open up a wall, they discover that the window is completely rotted and the window sill needs to be replaced when that wasn't necessarily anticipated. There were some change order requests that were what I'll characterize as want to or nice to have items, and based upon the limited funds available, they were not included for recommendation, only the have-tos. And then lastly, on a sad note, the township retained H2M a couple years ago to initiate the master plan and providing a new master plan, which was ultimately adopted in December of 2019. And subsequently, a contract was awarded to update our zoning ordinances. The department manager was a gentleman named Jeff Janota. He was a planner, and sadly, I was informed this morning that last night, after open heart surgery, he passed away due to complications from the surgery. So, it's been a year where we've had a lot of reports of loss, and it's another example where I just wish Mr. Janota's family the best with our thoughts and prayers. And it's a sad loss for us. It's a sad loss for everyone. Thank you.
Sorry to hear that.
Jeff was a young and very great guy to deal with during the master plan. So
Yeah, he was only 50 years old.
yeah.
Right? 50, right, Adam?
Yeah, right around there, 49 or 50.
Thank you for your report, Adam, and thank you for keeping those wishes and wants out of out of our hands.
My pleasure.
There are no public hearings scheduled for this evening. The next on the agenda is the introduction of ordinances. Ms. Marsh.
Beginning with ordinance number 2021-01, an ordinance to repeal chapter 156 and amend chapter 157 of the Code of the Township of Pequannock to establish stormwater management regulations.
Mr. Brewer, any comments?
Nothing further than what was reported on unless there are questions.
Okay. Any comments from council?
No.
No.
Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance number 2021-01.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Hurd,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Phelan,
Yes.
Mayor Russell.
Yes. Next on the agenda is the introduction of ordinance number 2021-02. Ms. Marsh?
Ordinance number 2021-02 is an ordinance to amend the Code of the Township of Pequannock and prohibit the feeding of wildlife.
Mr. Brewer, any comments?
Same, the report stands as given unless there are any questions.
Any comments from council?
No.
Nope. Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 2021-02.
A second?
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Hurd,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Phelan,
Yes.
Mayor Russell.
Yes. Next on the agenda is the introduction of ordinance number 2021-03. Ms. Marsh?
Ordinance number 2021-03 is an ordinance to establish and preserve a cat bank in accordance with NJSA 40A:4-4514.
Mr. Brewer, any comments?
Third verse, not dissimilar from the first two verses. If there are any questions.
Second verse, same as the first. Are there any comments from council?
No.
Just for those who don't know, this is standard operating procedure. Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
I'll
I'll
make a
make that
motion.
motion.
Go ahead, Rich.
I'll give it to Rich. Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Florence Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Hurd,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Phelan,
Yes.
Mayor Russell.
Yes. The next agenda item is resolutions. Ms. Marsh.
Beginning with Resolution R 2021-69, approving change order number 2 for the Martinberry House renovation project, increasing the contract with Drill Construction of West Orange, New Jersey by $13,835 to a revised contract price of $740,312. R 2021-470, extending the policy allowing temporary outdoor seating for restaurants during the pandemic shutdown of retail and commercial businesses in the Township of Pequannock. 2021-71, authorizing tax office refunds, overpayments, or cancellations. And 2021-72, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the February 4th, 2021 bill list.
Are there any comments on the resolutions from council?
Quick question, Adam. R 2021-70. What's the time frame that we have to keep on extending this? Is it every couple of months, or is it dictated by the executive orders that come out?
I thought it read that it's going to extend through 2021. Is that what we're voting on tonight?
That's the resolution as prepared. There is no statutorily or otherwise provided for time frame for this. Initially, we did it for a couple of months because I don't think anybody envisioned the duration that this has lasted. So the thought of the staff when we put it together was just to extend it through 2021.
Okay.
I'd like to also make a comment on that. Even if things get much better in June or July, I think we should let them continue to help try to make up for the loss that they've had in 2020 and part of 2021. So
I agree. Many of them spent a lot of money to create beautiful outdoor dining, and so I think we should let them use it for the whole summer.
Well, and I think we should also encourage them, for those that want to keep their outdoor dining, to go down to zoning department now and start working on that process for the future. Because at some point, hopefully, this will be over and we'll get back to normal.
I don't know that a lot of them can. I mean, we also are getting a lot of parking on our side streets.
Yeah.
Plus, if they take up parking, but we'll see. Okay, is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make that motion to adopt resolutions 2021-69 through 2021-72.
Is there a second?
it.
Roll call, please.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Florence Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Hurd,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Phelan,
Yes.
Mayor Russell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item on the agenda, items for discussion. We have boards, committees, and commissions. Did everybody get the stuff that Carol sent with the vacancies?
Yes.
I'd like to make a recommendation to add candidate number 1 to the zoning board.
I'll second it.
Sounds good.
I also would like to let the council know that I sent an email to the planning board secretary asking for a liaison to open space. And at this time, there has been no one that has shown interest
Okay.
for the position.
That's a question.
Okay.
I'm not surprised, Dave.
All the other
Okay.
committees, I think we should just leave as is.
I agree. I think we should say okay to all the liaisons.
Yeah, I'm good with the liaisons. I would do that.
We don't have to make a motion on this. We just move on, right?
I'm going to prepare a resolution, so that's when the action actually takes.
Okay.
It'll be for the next council meeting.
There's a
Sounds good.
resolution for the liaisons as well, or just?
Yes. No, for the liaisons as well. I mean, they're welcome to go to the meeting, but just to make it official.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring up one thing. I know I don't have a problem with it, but I just want to make sure everybody was aware that the number 1 that you're putting on zoning board, we had, even though you see that number 5 there, that was already done. Everybody's aware that that is also.
That's correct. And I spoke
Okay.
to candidate number 1 and he's fine with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With both. All right, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next item on our agenda is council reports and announcements. Councilwoman Florence Lynch.
Okay. Gotta find my paper now. All right, here we go. All right, so the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee met the first week of February. That committee is now full with 11 members and 1 youth liaison. The open space liaison, the liaison to open space from Parks and Rec will be Rudy Steinfall, who is also the vice chair of the committee, and Tom Andrea was appointed as the chair of the committee. The group discussed the Morris County Commission bicycle and pedestrian path project, and all were in agreement with what we talked about at our last meeting, that it's best to get this project going. We can look at changes down the line, such as creating access to aquatic park for, the Pompton River walk connections and such, but we want to move that project forward. So everybody was excited to hear that we're getting closer from all the decades of talking about it. I reported to the group that the contract was awarded, as we discussed at the last meeting, for the concession provider for the various events that are held during the year. And my understanding was, because Barbara was there from Parks and Rec, that they were still soliciting the quotes for the concession operator at the snack stand at PV Park, and those are due in this Thursday morning, February 11th, I believe is the deadline for that. They're still hiring lifeguards for the season. Everyone knows you have to be 16 years of age and certified, and all that information is on the website. They're also we're looking to hire an assistant lake manager. That's also on the website. Just to keep the dates going out there, the hoedown is scheduled for Saturday, October 16th, with a rain date of October 17th at Greenview Park. I think it's good to keep putting that out there, so when other groups are scheduling activities, they don't forget that that is already set. Let's see, what else? There was some discussion, I believe we'll talk about it with the budget, but there was some discussions about making sure more umbrellas were added into the budget for the park. And there was also some discussion about possibly adding some more sand in front of the picnic tables, since there's, trees there to make some shade. So that's something that is good consideration, if there's not enough umbrellas. We went over the ranger report. Our ranger, Jacob Nanjeri, he does an excellent job. His reports were very thorough. Let's see, what else? By March 1st, a decision I think will be made about the annual river cleanup. Rudy was there discussing that. It's currently set for April 1st, but there was some discussion about whether they were going to have to move it out to October. I don't know if you heard any more about that. Yes.
Melissa, I have it scheduled for April 10th.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I might have put the wrong date on there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's April 10th, 2021, Saturday.
So as far as you know, it's still that date.
That's the date that they selected, yeah.
Okay. And let's see what else. There was some discussion around the polar plunge that was canceled last year. And the group brought up, if the council or the town has another event or project that group could work on, they would be open to it. They felt it was a great mentor program. So if there's something else anyone has an idea about, there was actually quite a bit of money. It's still in their account from the canceled polar plunge from last year. And everyone just was so excited about that, that program. They thought it was a great mentor program for the kids. So
maybe they can help buy the umbrellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of discussions talked about, but I'll leave it up to Adam and Parks and Rec to discuss. They talked about things like repairs to the raft and
New
taking up disc
trampolines.
golf and doing umbrellas, whatever. So more to come on that. Let's see what else. The Flood Control Advisory Committee, they're set to meet this Thursday at 7:30. I'll follow up to make sure the Zoom meeting is set up. They did not hold a meeting yet this year. Economic Development, they did meet, and their new chair is now Joe DeFranco, and the vice chair is Jeff Moriello. So the two main things they talked about was they've been working hard on cleaning up the business list and categorizing them. It's really a big undertaking to go through all the businesses in town. Just when you get it all updated, there's changes to be made, but they're working in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce on that. Even though we've lost a few businesses, they've gained a few as well. The group continues to reach out to businesses to make sure, if there's anything we can help them with, and make sure they get their grand openings set up as well. And the group discussed an online program that some of the members are taking. It kind of aims to build a business and community-friendly environment, and it helps promote the town. So I forwarded that to Adam, and some of the members are going to take that course. It's like a pick and choose course, things that you think will help come up with ideas to help promote the town. So other than that, that was it. Just wanted to make a comment that I was sorry to hear about Jeff Janata. Really, our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Hurd?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things. I'm going to start with the squad report, first aid squad report. Last month, or the month of January, total calls were 70. Unfortunately, they are still treating and transporting patients with COVID-19. The squad members started to receive their second dose of COVID vaccine last Friday, so that's good. Interesting thing, our first aid responders, or all of our first responders, are always putting themselves in front of things and helping everybody out in town. The other day, while most people were getting up in the morning, the squad was dispatched at 6:16 a.m. To Route 23 South for a motor vehicle accident that involved a rollover. And this is while it was snowing and icing. Unfortunately, at the same time, one of our technicians was leaving her house, and she fell down ice in a snow-covered staircase, and she was injured in the fall, and also required our squad to respond to her and bring her to Chilton. So one of the hazards, our guys are always going out there and putting themselves in front of everything, and sometimes they also get hurt on the job. So she is okay, but I want to thank everybody, because we get it. Because you guys are going out in the morning, we can stay in our house nice and warm and cozy. So I just want to thank everybody on the squad, and Tom for his leadership. I really do appreciate it. Let's see, moving on, Municipal Alliance Committee, we talked about Narcan kits, and you have to get them, or you have to get a new kit every 2 years. So if your kit is on that time frame, please go down and get one. I believe they are available over at Chilton. That's where I got my kit. Or we can ask, Adam actually might be able to correct me. Can we get them from our police department as well?
Unfortunately, we need them a lot in the police department.
Okay.
Pretty quickly. But if people are interested in them and they're unable to get them, they're welcome to contact my office, the police department, or the health department, and we can help facilitate getting them access to the kits.
Okay, thank you. There was also talk about a grant that we always get from MAC every year, and we want to make sure that we stay on top of that. So this way the municipality has to fill it out on behalf of them. And I know they also do partnerships with Community Partners of Hope, which is great. Let's see, open space. I'm going to echo a lot of things that Melissa was talking about. We were talking about the rail trail. We are very excited and happy that it's coming through. We're excited that it's going to connect a lot of our parks, considering that's the main north-south trail, and everything can branch off of that, whether it's aquatic park, whether it's going to Martinbury House, whether it's going walking down Mountainside to Mountainside Park. It's great. It would be nice if we had a exit into Aquatic Park. There's no official exit, but there's ways of getting there. Adam, do you know if there will be a time that we could ask that, or is there something that we could do? I mean, obviously they're going out to bid right now, so.
Yeah, as we discussed and I conveyed back to the county, my recommendation to the council is let's get the park built. We've talked about it for a really long time. I had a further conversation. I understand there were 88 questions submitted regarding the bid package, which is an absurd amount of questions about a bid document. It's a $20+ million project. It's a big deal. So I think if it's okay with everyone, we let it be built. We get it moving, take a look at it, see what makes the most sense. And then if there's an issue with dollars, I'll come to the council with a recommendation and estimates, and we can approach the Morris County Park Commission.
Sounds good. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you keep on top of it. And let's see. I asked Carol about the liaison. Dave, you told me about that. So we're all good. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Councilman Cole?
Company One met last Friday. Just a couple things. They're in the process of nozzle replacement. It's a nozzle replacement project. They're identifying the best one that fits our the department. There is hope that we can get together with Company Two and match our nozzles in the future, so they both have the same nozzles. I didn't know that was a thing. They had to replace nozzles, but I'm learning. The current nozzles that they have, that project was completed 20 years ago, so they did get a bit of a use out of those nozzles. Other thing they had a meeting with the police department to review dispatch procedures. Proceed with caution was discussed. A delay in dispatch, and it was a very positive meeting, and they appreciated Chief Commune and Lieutenant Brown for their time and cooperation on the matter. Captain Daly on the fire department for Company One is working on plans to update the radio room. The goal is to transform the room into a communication command center for better accountability of fire ground operations and DFS incident expectations. So that's about all I have, both in person and Zoom. I'm enjoying it, learning a lot different things that I don't know about the fire departments. And that's it. Well, planning board met a week ago yesterday. It was a short, very quick meeting, 3 o'clock on a Monday. So nothing really going on there. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Phelan?
Okay, so none of my committees met this month, which is normal. Dave, you will enjoy your meeting tomorrow at the TBSA. And if you have any issues, call me. I'll take care of it for you.
Our first official meeting tomorrow for the TBSA.
They'll love you. Trust me, they'll love you. You'll enjoy every minute of it. Anyway, that's it.
That's awesome. Thanks, Rich. I just have a couple of things. I did get quite a few calls, and they were all good regarding our DPW and what a great job they do. So many people called. And I was like kind of nervous every time they were like, is this the mayor? Yes, I just want to say how great they are. So it was really good to hear that. As always, keep doing a good job, whether we get 2 feet or whether we get 6 inches. It's nice to know when I pull out of my driveway, those roads are clear. I think our health department does a fabulous job. We do have to watch out for our seniors. I did also get a couple calls from seniors, 73, 78 years old, who aren't getting through the COVID. Now, I was on a call with both the county and governor's office where we kind of just listened and then we asked questions. It was interesting. But they did say that beforehand, people were stalking the website. So, they were going to Atlantic Health and hitting refresh until a date would pop up. So, learning from that curve, they have stopped that, where now people who are on the list, who are registered, will get first chance at getting those open dates. So looking forward to people who actually registered getting those emails or texts. And Of course, the snow doesn't help. They don't schedule every day. They do leave a couple days open for snow days, so that's good. They upped the amount of dosage that they're doing. They were doing around 1,600 and they're hoping to do more. Second doses, as Ryan said, just started. So it's going well, but hopefully they had a fix. Troop 144 has a new Eagle Scout. And so March 14th, everybody mark your calendars if you can make it. Joseph White, he refurbished the prayer garden at the Knights of Columbus. And his honor ceremony will be March 14th outside at Greenview Park. I'll forward you that email, whoever can make it. Tomorrow is environmental, so we haven't met. Library has extended their hours a bit. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9:30 to 4:30. Tuesday and Thursday, 9:30 to 7, and Saturday, 10:30 to 3:30. So that is it.
Kyle, if I could just add one other thing.
Of course.
On the Atlantic Health, it's recommended that if you are a senior and you're not, regularly checking your emails, that you have a buddy system that your buddy can fill out all the necessary information that they need and put your buddy's email down, someone that may be checking emails a lot more frequently than someone that, a senior.
That's a good idea.
This
Yeah,
way, that person can see that they usually give like a 3-day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when the appointments do open up. This way, that person may be able to get in and make that appointment for the senior. It's also recommended that if there are 3 days that come up, go right to the last day, because by the time you enter all your information on the first day, those appointments are already gone. So just a couple of tips that I've learned, being on the board at Chilton. So
that's great. That's great. I'll call them back. I was taking everybody's numbers. I said to one woman, I was telling Adam, I said, I may not have the answer, but I'm a great conversationalist. I could just call you back and chat, So, but that's good to know. Because I thought the same thing. That's what I asked everybody. Are you checking? I don't know that everybody checks their emails as often as we do, but hopefully they do. So hopefully that'll happen and they'll get it. But I like the fact that they're sending direct links to these people now, and it's not just sign up and then everything's gone. So awesome. Thank you. Nice to have someone on the board that can keep us informed there, Dave.
My pleasure.
Next on the agenda is public comment. If anyone wishes to address the council, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized and provide your name and address for the record.
Mayor, there are no hands raised.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have some minutes of approval. We have December 22nd, 2020, January 5th, 2021, January 12th, 2021, January 26th, 2021. Are there any comments on these minutes? Nope. Good. Is there a motion to approve these
I
minutes?
just want to make sure Rich knows yes to abstain on January 5th.
Abstain.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from December 22nd, January 5th of 2021, January 12th of 2021, and January 26th of 2021.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
There you
Thank
go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstained to January 5th, but aye to all the other ones.
Any
Ayes have
opposed?
it.
Okay. There are no closed session discussions this evening. So there being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that
Make a
motion.
motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Rich's motion.
It depends who you took as the motion.
What was that? Did I miss something?
No.
Oh, I see that. Is there a motion? Okay. So everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
No.
This meeting is adjourned at 7:46 p.m. Have a nice night, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.